What is going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. Happy Monday morning to everyone out there. KG is back. We're talking a little transfer news. We're talking Daniel Farke's comments on Illan Meslier. We're going to get into that and just improvements and things that we need to make along the way. I also want to get into just some of your comments in regards to the game against Portsmouth. Obviously, that's come and gone. We need to move on, but I just want to put it in perspective as to where we are in comparison to a lot of teams. And I think it sometimes gets forgotten that we do have a strong hand when it comes to this league, especially squad wise. And I think we kind of overthink it sometimes, but we'll talk about that in a bit. But before I do, like, subscribe, drop your comments below. Thank you to Malcolm Patrick, Mr. P, for the super thanks on the last video, much appreciated. Thank you to Parrot House, always supporting with the super sticker there. Thank you so much, Parrot House. And listen, if you want to become a member of the channel, shout out to all my members, love you all. Thank you for that support. If you want to become a member, the link is in the description or is next to the subscribe button called join. And listen, Nige, morning, KG, morning to you, Nige, man. So Farke claims Meslier is the best goalkeeper in the league. What league, though? Definitely not the championship. Yeah, and listen, this isn't going to be like a burial. I mean, it's just going to be realistic stuff because I'm bringing up a site I've used before when it comes to goalkeeper stats. Pretty easy to follow, even for me. And it's called FB Ref. And if you want to go there for any queries that you may have about a goalkeeper, go there because it gives you absolutely everything in terms of the numbers that they give. But the main one I want to look at is save percentage because that is the main one for me of a goalkeeper. That is it, not a clean sheet. And I'm gonna show you that as well if you don't believe that as why. Bobby saying flappy Frenchman out. Come on, Bobby, be better than that. Be better. But yeah, listen, I've said before, he doesn't instill me with confidence. And also, by the way, people, we're gonna have an interesting Jonathan Rowe update and a Rak Sakai discussion because yeah, I'm confused by that one. But look, let's just talk about the Meslier stuff first because Daniel Farke did address the criticism of Meslier by calling him the best goalkeeper in the championship. Now, I know with Baron Cross sometimes he does the sensationalist headline, so you have to dig a little deeper into the data of the article. But Daniel Farke has said that before, and he did say it again. He says that he is the best goalkeeper in the league, and this was the thing that blew me away as well. He says 49 out of 50 times. You know, what's the quote here? Yeah, Illan saves this strike 49 times out of 50. And this is where I go with Daniel Farke for me, where he talks too much. And we saw this towards the latter end of the season last year, where we were starting to get sticky results. And he just started talking way too much. And you could even attribute it to earlier in the season with the whole Peru and Jorginho thing, having a 13-minute discussion as to why Jorginho is a number 9 when in no world in this realm of reality is Jorginho a 9. Sometimes Daniel Farke goes too far with his comments and he doesn't help people. And I liken it to when Jesse Marsh said that Liam Cooper is the best captain he's ever worked with. What does that mean? Because now all I remember with Jesse Marsh is saying, so you've never had a better player overall that's a better captain than Liam Cooper. Then what does that say about your previous Salzburg teams and everything else, Leipzig teams, whatever? You know what I mean? So sometimes managers, and let me just say this, I get it that your manager wants to back your players. 100% I get that. But you control how much you say. So now what he's done here with Illan Meslier is put even more unnecessary pressure on him because we already know he can't cope with that anyway. But now his performance is going to be much more scrutinized, not just by Leeds fans, but by general fans of the championship, because he's now claiming that we've got the best goalkeeper in the league. And we don't. Okay. Both eye test and stats wise, we do not have the best goalkeeper in the league. It's that simple. Okay. I am saying Farke equal Charlie Waffles. He does, and the thing is, it's to the detriment of the team. It is when he's talking about, oh, I like the pressure. I thrive in the pressure. No, you don't. You know, the pressure gave us a 4-0 whooping at QPR. That's what it did. The pressure made us freeze in the championship final while Russell Martin was just like, yep, we're bopping these people all around the place. Look, Daniel Farke, and I've seen the criticism online, by the way. This isn't just me. And I just want to say, I'm not Farke at this stage, but I think the rope is very short. And when you see what his German counterpart did against Plymouth, it does beg the question, how are we not doing that against Portsmouth? Now, granted, we scored 3 goals, which is great, but we should not be conceding 3 against that team. We just shouldn't. And this is the thing as well. I just want people to just reset a little with saying in regards to this Leeds team, the deficiencies we have, because we do, and we've got one on the screen here. Jayden Bogle obviously wasn't good defensively in that game. I don't expect that to continue through the season. But guys, what I say is when you put our player up, our team up player for player against most of the teams we're playing in this division, we should not be scraping a 3-3 draw at home against Portsmouth. We just shouldn't. What Sheffield Wednesday did yesterday against Plymouth, that's how our game should have gone. What Sheffield United did against Preston away from home, that's how our game should have gone against Portsmouth. There were no excuses for it. The fact that we're conceding a penalty to go behind 3-2 in 90 plus minutes, again, is a detriment to how we're playing football. So there are improvements that we have to make in this league, and we can do them because we got the players. Let me tell you, the people that are saying about this team not being good enough, if we had the players that Portsmouth had, they wouldn't shut up all day long. They'd be here. And the only time these people ever crop up, by the way, is when we don't win games. I always notice that because I always look at the comments and see when they last left a comment on my video. And it's always when it's been a draw or a bad deal. Maybe Archie Gray was sold or something like that. Somerville sold. They always come when it's a bad moment for Leeds. So I don't really pay them too mind. But it is a thing to say. We are better than a lot of teams in this league. And for the players, I do put it on some of the players as well, because I do think some of them were a bit arrogant on the weekend once we were 1-0 up. I do agree with Daniel Farke there. But listen, going back to the goalkeeper here, Daniel Farke talking about his confidence in Meslier, and this is why I was talking about not just in the last title I had getting competition for Meslier. I think we should replace him completely, but we know that's not going to happen. He's been made vice captain and he's been back to the hilt by Daniel Farke. But the problem with what Farke said, and I go to these things here, people, because it's not just the eye test, it's the numbers. This was around near the end of the Premier League when we got relegated. The Leeds number one has, and this was April 2023. So we're not talking 2 years ago. We're talking just over a year and a few months ago. The Leeds number one has the lowest save percentage by any Premier League goalkeeper, 43.2%, having just saved 16 of the 37 shots on target face. You remember these. This, though, this isn't a though. This is an addition to it. This has been heavily skewed by conceding 12 goals from the last 13 shots on target that he's faced in the top flight. So that there, and you're talking from a year ago, that dispels Daniel Farke's thing about he saves that, 49 out of 50 times, because that's just not true, Daniel. And now what you're doing is when he does concede on the first shot again, because it will happen again, people. We've seen this with Meslier over the last couple of years. People are just going to keep on bringing that back up. So I'm not doing it to spite Meslier. I'm saying it because Daniel Farke has now brought it into the ether. He said it out his mouth. He's the Leeds manager. People are going to throw it back in his face. And this is the other thing now. So this is more recent. This was last season. And this is it as well. I never knew of this FB ref site until maybe last season. But this is when I was looking at Illan Meslier and thinking, this kid is going to be special. Look at his save percentage. First off, when he took over in the championship, small sample size, but it was a decent enough one where he was performing well. The first year in the Premier League, okay, maybe skewed because there's no fans, but granted, look, he was on fire, man. He was cooking, shot stopping, so much confidence in the kid. He seemed like he was going to the next level. But then obviously, as the years tick by, the save percentage has been plummeting. 66% is not good. Under 60 is not good. And for a team that finished third in the table, people, under 70%, or I would go 75%, is not good, people. It's not. You got 18 clean sheets with an under 70 save percentage. Now, let me just compare that to Mads Hermansen, the Leicester goalkeeper. He had 13 clean sheets, but a near 74% save percentage, which means he was doing what he was supposed to do. And these are the fine margin details that we all keep speaking about as to what we can do to be that much better. That's one of them. Your goalkeeper just making a save. And we saw that last season when the ball started, he started to see the ball more goals went in. And it's not a coincidence, people. Bobby saying the drop off is insane. Yeah, and look, and for the people that are saying in regards to Meslier, yeah, but he was facing a load of shots, so of course his save percentage is going to plummet. That's not true. When we've seen in previous years goalkeepers where they're at the bottom of the table. Let's think like Ben Foster. Who else in that kind of realm? Joe Hart when he was on loan at Birmingham. There's a whole host of examples there. Jordan Pickford would probably be one as well. They're at the bottom, but they're making a ton of saves because they're making a ton of shots, so they look great. But it's when you go to that next level, when you go to the top team, and you've got to keep your concentration. And now this is another thing Farke said in regards to Meslier. He hadn't seen the ball in a while, so maybe his concentration was off. That's a problem because if you're at a top team, which we are in this division, you are not going to see a ton of shots. You're just not. So you have to be ready. That's why Alisson's so good. That's why, to a point, Edison's good. I go with Ortega more for Man City for me. That's why in the past, your checks are so good. Schmeichel's, the top goalkeepers have to have prime concentration because they're not seeing a ton of shots. So in that case, we don't know if Pickford goes to a top club. Does he perform the same as he does now at Everton? Who knows? Because it's a different game. You know what I mean? We've seen Nick Pope, Sir Nick Pope, as you know, I like to call him, was doing wonders at Burnley, kept them up, absolutely brilliant until he couldn't do it anymore. Goes to Newcastle and he's still performing the same because he's a top goalkeeper. And it's as simple as that. But with Illan Meslier, he needs to be better in this division because he's not going to see many shots. And as you can already see from the numbers there at the bottom, where we're 10th currently, obviously it's only after one game, people, no panic alarms there. But his goals against penalty already is 3 because he's conceded 3 in one game. So he's starting behind the 8 ball and has to be better going forward. Is he capable? I don't think he is. I don't think he is capable. But all I'm asking him to be, and I said this before the game started, is just be average. That's it. That's all. I am not asking the world from Illan Meslier. But the thing is, we get to a point with Illan where, okay, he's not great at crosses. Okay, so we can't expect that from him. He's not great at his near post. We can't expect that from him. Long shots, he's very, iffy with that. He makes shots look better than they are. Penalties as well, people. He's saved 1 out of 23, so he's conceded 22 out of 23 penalties. So we can't expect him to save a penalty. So what can we expect from Illan Meslier? I don't get it. For a guy, he's like 6 foot. Certain Marseille have just completed the Rui as well from Ajax, so they're covered with a goalkeeper. No chance of a last minute bid from Marseille. But that's what I'm saying with Meslier. We expect so little, and when he does actually catch a cross, it's like, wow, that's poor. But Farke highlighting these kind of things is just going to make it worse for him. But all we can hope, by the way, and let's talk about the defense, is that we defend a little bit better in front of him as well. But when it does go through for that instance and that first goal that they scored, please, you've got to make that save, Meslier. You have to. Yeah, I know, Ali. He tried the Martinez, but it wasn't happening, man. It wasn't happening. Um, Yeah, I mean, Darren, it's getting to the point we don't want to talk about it anymore because it's getting tiresome. Yeah, listen, I thought it was going to be the last video, but I'm sorry, but when your manager comes out and says these kind of terms, it has to be discussed. Because when you're saying these kind of things as well, by the way, you're usually saying it about players that you can rely on. Like remember this last season where I talked up Emi Martinez, and then that following game for Villa, he had an absolute stinker, and he did. I don't know if anyone remembers that. But that was a one-off with Emi Martinez. For the rest of the season, he was absolutely solid. So you can say that's a one-off for Martinez because it's true. But with Meslier, it's not a one-off, I'm afraid, and the pressure's going to be on him. Yeah, I'm there, Jack, and we're going to end it there. Listen, you can put your thoughts in the comments below, but I've given you the raw data. I've given you from the eye test. You can see it yourself what's been happening. We just need better. But Farke, please help your players out by just stop talking. It's the old Run DMC thing. If you watch Botchamania, you talk too much. You never shut up. Just temper it down a bit. Just calm it down a bit, please. And I'm with Jackie. I expect so little, and he still disappoints me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But listen, and yeah, John, this is it as well. Look, we scored 3, but we conceded 3, didn't we? Successful teams concede very few goals. We'll get nowhere trying to win 5-4 every week. And I completely agree that. And Bobby here saying people say he's a brilliant shot stopper. He gets beat at his near post all the time. Yeah, he was a brilliant shot stopper, Bobby. But this is it. Some people can't let go of the past. I am not that person. I go with the latest information. I go with the latest what I see. And he's not a great shot stopper anymore. Hasn't been for some time. He can pull out the occasional one. Of course he can. He's a goalkeeper. He should. But yeah, he's not that guy anymore. But look, it's just a shame as well. I mean, Sam Johnston, I'm not his biggest fan, but he's going to leave Palace. He's going to stay in the Prem probably. But, there's so many ways you can upgrade. But look, anyway, let's move on to the transfer window because we've got a couple weeks left. Where should we go first? Let's go with the Rak Sakai stuff first. Let's go with that first because that kind of came out of nowhere for me. I know Alan Nixon reported it, but so did this guy who works down south, Edmund Brack, reported down there. It was a weird one. And look, people, we have got 2 weeks left of the window, 2 weeks. And it just feels like I don't want it to feel like we are only after 2 players because that's when fans just want these only one of these 2 players and nothing else will suffice. No, there has to be other options if these are so difficult. And this one here, Edmund Bratt reported that Norwich City made a late attempt to sign Rak Sakai after Jonathan Rowe pulled out of their matchday squad, which we're going to talk about as well because we have an update to that from the very reputable Mike McGrath. Pulled out their matchday squad yesterday. Leeds made a permanent inquiry yesterday, which was not back. Burnley have stepped up their interest in the last 24 hours. Now, by all accounts, I keep seeing that Rak Sakai is going to Sheffield United, and it's just a matter of time before it's signed and done. But the things that are putting back Leeds for Rak Sakai is the need for game time, which is not guaranteed. There may be an argument that maybe he takes Dan James' place. There is an argument, okay. But also the loan fee, which is a 7-figure fee, which we've done before with Jed Spence. So I don't know if we do that again at this stage of the championship of our championship lifespan of the second year. And also that recall clause in January, which whether he's performing well or not, Crystal Palace may say, wow, he's done really well. Let's bring him back because Palace at the moment, all their best players are being linked with moves away. And apparently we were going to bid 15 million for him out of nowhere when we're still in for Jonathan Rowe. I don't understand this one completely, and I'm not going to pretend to either at this stage. Does anyone have any raw thoughts on this Rak Sakai thing? Because the one thing I thought when Alan Nixon was saying it was that he's just added Leeds' name in there just so that Sheffield United, when they announce it, can say that they've beaten Leeds to a signing, which their fan base will obviously lap up. That was something that was in my mindset at the time. But with other reporters coming in saying that we've made a permanent inquiry, which is odd within itself because Palace have said they have no interest in selling him for permanent fees. And I don't think 15 million will get it done. We saw Liverpool, by the way, say they weren't interested in selling Carvalho, but Brentford have put up an offer which said to Liverpool, okay, we'll take it. And it was like 20 million, 7.5 in add-ons and a sell-on clause. So they're going to get a pretty decent deal from that, Liverpool. So 15 million for me for Rak Sakai was never going to do it, especially with Southampton's interest being not back. There seems to be a hesitation with doing a deal with Leeds, and this is a common thing with all the reports, and I do think it is to do with the game time thing because we're not going to be able to offer him week in, week out football, which is what Palace will want from him. Yeah, that's what it is, Nigel. I've got that feeling at the moment. And listen, if we sign him, and we're proven wrong, and that's fair enough. But we're all just guessing. But I'm with Nigel here. It feels like PR thing to drum up interest or to get deals done quicker with say Sheffield United and other clubs. So I'm going to park the Rak Sakai stuff for now. But the one with the Jonathan Rowe one is the one that interests me more. Just purely because Mike McGrath, and you guys know how much I rate Mike McGrath. It goes without saying he's very, very reliable for me. Shout out to you, Si, with the super sticker. Much appreciated, Si. Love for the support. Big up to you. And this is Ali. Ali saying, I think he starts over James. There's an argument. There is an argument, Ali. Listen, Dan James, I've said before, think he's good at this level, pace, power. But there is an improvement you can make there. And a technical player like Rak Sakai or Jonathan Rowe, there is an argument there. I do think there's one spot. By the way, another mistake, quite clearly, just from the fans' point of view, in relation to the manager, we saw Willie Nanto get the man of the match, and he got taken off far too early. We can say it's all ifs and buts. We know that now. But if Willie Nanto stays on the pitch, maybe the result's different. But again, ifs and buts, isn't it? Jonathan Rowe, Mike McGrath with this report, and this was about an hour ago now. Jonathan Rowe's situation at Norwich. Bid from Marseille went in on Friday evening, not accepting but considering another offer. Player not included in squad after discussions with the club. Now, Mike McGrath has put this in here, so I believe his intel over a lot of people's people. I do. And he says that he did not withdraw himself at the weekend. So whether that, when the club comes out after and says, yeah, it's not on that Jonathan Rose decided not to play today, whether that's like PR for themselves, just trying to cover themselves in that situation, just to make it look like the players on the bad side of it. We've seen that happen before, so that's not out the realm of possibilities. But Mike McGrath does end this as well, saying Leeds and other clubs are still in contention. So I don't think it's a direct line for Jonathan Rowe to Marseille. But what I would like, people, I would like this to get done as soon as possible. Otherwise, just move on. I'll be real with you. I'm kind of sick of this whole. This has become a saga now, and you guys know I don't like the transfer saga. But yeah, I just think this needs to come to a conclusion soon. If Leeds know what Norwich want and can't get anywhere near it, move on. And listen, Marseille will do what they're doing. Marseille are doing some really interesting business this summer. I saw they sign another player as well as a goalkeeper recently. Look, let's just get it done. Seriously. Let's have a look. Bobby saying Edmund Brack reporting that Rak Sakai is done. Has he updated that? I'll have a look if that's right. Bobby, you're one of my usuals, man. Don't let me down. Let me see. Okay, yeah, 19 minutes ago. Yeah. Okay, so there we are, people. Yeah, Bobby. I knew I could rely on you, Bobby. I knew you could. I know I could rely on you, my man. But yeah, listen. So there we are. Look, that just puts the Rak Sakai stuff to bed. And that's why I didn't do a stream yesterday, because if you remember when I did that stream about the Harrison Burrows one, I did not like that, people, and you guys know that. uh it that just was not the kind of stuff I wanted to do. So I wanted to just let the story breathe. It was Sunday. I was like, okay, let me see if anything concrete comes out. And I wasn't really pleased with what I was reading. So I just left it until today, where I could just roll it all into one conversation. But there we are, people. Sheffield United win the race for Rak Sakai on loan from Crystal Palace. He's doing his medical today. Cool. I know you don't, Bobby. It's just sometimes you never know, man. Some people try and trick you in the comments. You know what I mean? But Bobby, I should have trusted you more. I'm sorry. That's on me. That's on me. But there you are, seeing Sheffield United getting more business done. I saw. Listen, they signed Kevin Campbell's son, Tyrese Campbell. Yeah, they need another option besides Ryan Brewster, because he's not it. But you can see Sheffield United building up their squad very nicely. They've got a very good squad as it stands. Maybe a bit weak in a couple of areas, but everyone's got weaknesses, people, and that's what I'm saying. But when you look at the totality of Sheffield United squad, that for me should be in the top two. I'm just going to say it here. They should be in the top two with under Chris Wilder. Yeah, Blades look good now, might go up. I think so too. But it's back to us. What are we doing? What are we doing? We still need a left back, people. We still need a central midfield. Once again, these are Daniel Farke's words. We need a fullback. And I'm cool. Listen, if we get the Chelsea lad that's a left-footed, right-sided player, I do get what we're going to do there, because I think we kind of tried it in the game against Portsmouth, where Bogle and Firpo switch sides, which made no sense. But if you're going to go Byram on the left side, and then Bashir Humphreys on the right with opposite foot, that makes sense to me. That makes sense for the inverted way that we're trying to play. But we need to get our business done, people. And listen, it's about patience. I get it, but we literally have 2 weeks left to get what we're saying 3 deals done. Can we do that? We shall see. Nige saying 49ers go get Schmodic signed if we keep Nanto. I mean, Schmodic's for me. If we were to choose, I know Jonathan Rowe's got a higher ceiling, but it's just the way Schmodix plays. His no-nonsense style. It's something completely different to what we have. Jonathan Rowe, for me, would come in and be another tricky winger, nice technique and everything else like that. But I feel like we've got that in Nanto. I feel like we've got that in Georgie. I think we've got it in a couple of players. I think even Aronson comes under that, just on a lesser scale with Aronson. Just hold on, lesser scale. But Schmodix is your battle. He's a battle axe, isn't he? He's going to get you goals from midfield. So again, people, once again, so saw the highlights of a lot of goals on the weekend. The amount of late arrivals to the box where a player is just shooting, making something happen. Sometimes it takes a deflection. Sometimes it goes in. We still haven't got that yet. We're still not doing it, even though Gruev is advancing up. And again, you could argue that Gruev isn't the right profile to take that role at this point in time. But we're not seeing that variation in shots. It's that thing where we're having to work the perfect angle, perfect opening to try and get a shot. I'm seeing all you have to do in this league is get a shot on target. It's got a pretty good chance of going in. It really does. But listen, I'm saying I don't mind Jonathan Rowe, but if you're offering me Schmodix, I would take it. The age doesn't make any sense, but it does because Daniel Farke wants experience. And so far, all the links we got are for kids. But yeah, look, we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. Yeah, that's the thing though. Maybe Schmodix is too expensive in terms of that. Oh, and that was the other thing as well. I've mentioned it before in regards to pricing, but someone asked me if we were going to spend 15 million on Rak Sakai, why not spend 15 million on Jonathan Rowe? But it's that thing I've said before, and I'm not going to go through the example again, but just because you value someone at 15 doesn't mean you then, and you've got 15, doesn't mean that you'd spend 15 on another player. It doesn't work like that. You know, it's like with anything, just because you have a budget for a house of 350,000, yeah, one looks great for 350,000, but if there's a broken down shack and it's 350,000, you know, you're not going to spend it on that. So you do have a budget, but you'll have an internal figure of what you think a player is worth, and that's just how football works, man. Um, yeah, I found a chance would have fallen onto Schmodix. It suits his movement. He would have buried. Yeah, and it's not just Schmodix, by the way. Once again, let's not just get married to one player. But it was around the league. It was various players, just that late arrival in the box and smacking it one time, not two, three touches, just hitting it first time, see what happens, and it creates goals. That's what you do in this division. It's not always about technique and pretty play. It's just about being a brute or just getting that shot in the box, get it in the mixer. Sometimes it takes ugly stuff to score goals, as we saw ourselves on the weekend. Um, but yeah, Wilco White's here saying we need to get our house in order. We can't afford to have a poor August this season. Yeah, and that's just it. We've already started with a draw, which is not ideal. We've conceded 3 goals once again, which is not ideal. And we do have a couple of like they've made them now very tricky away games. West Brom, discounting the cup game, people, which we'll speak about. Maybe was it later today? Maybe tomorrow. We'll speak about the Middlesbrough game, but I'm more concerned about the league. And we've got West Brom away, which will be tricky, but I expect us to get back on track. I do, and more. We've got that Sheffield Wednesday away game, and is Daniel Farke better than Danny Rowe as a coach? I have my doubts. Look, I don't believe in Daniel Farke as a coach. I'm just going to say I don't believe him. I think we get promoted in spite of him, but he's got to get the results. He does. And this is not me saying Farke out because I still think he's got the capabilities to get us up, but I do think we should review it in the summer big time. And it will be one of the first items on my agenda. It will. And it goes with players as well. There's players that I feel are more than good enough for this division. But when you talk in Premier League, absolutely not. But that's the other thing that people do as well in the comments. They say some of these players will not survive in the Premier League, but that's where the club comes in and says, sorry, guys, thanks for getting us up, but we're going to be, getting, better players in your position. That's how, serious clubs do it. But that's a conversation for another time. Let's concentrate on Middlesbrough first and then West Brom, yeah? um, Okay, Darren here. Oh, okay, this Schmodix thing is carrying on. Okay, fairs, people, fairs. I'm here. Agree that Schmodix will be better for us. He offers a different profile. That's what it is for me, Darren. We've got a lot of profiles that are pretty similar. Schmodix is completely different. He's just in every way. He's just completely different in every way. And I think the fans would absolutely love him here. But whether Blackburn are going to ask for too much, listen, we'll see come the end of the window because we know when it comes to the transfer window as well, people. Teams get desperate towards the last couple of weeks, and that will probably include us too, but also selling teams because maybe they don't have the money. Maybe they've held out for as long as they can, and they say, oh, damn, all right, we'll accept that offer because they need to balance the books. Maybe they can't keep on paying this player's wages for the next 6 months and hope he gets moved in January. So it's going to be interesting to see what plays out. But you know what? I think Schmodix will go to the Premier League myself. That's just my personal opinion. But listen, people, that is it for now. Look, we've gone on for nearly half an hour. I hope there's been some interesting information in this one for you. I did wait a day just to get everything in one. As we can see, Rak Sakai, forget the Rak Sakai thing in the title. He's gone Sheffield United. Let's look out for Jonny Rowe. I'd love to see Schmodix in there though. But yeah, hey, listen, people, Meslier, have at it. You know what I'm saying? Have at it. Farke comments, whatever. We speak about it in the comments. Like, subscribe, drop your comments below, and I'll see you in the next video, people. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your day. Unless I'm back later.